Morning, everybody. Let's do a quick market update. We are just live now. Market just opened around 3:30, so we are 1 minute into the market, and you can see S&P 500 came from sell zone to the buy zone yesterday. Perfect touch, 1.44% down, perfectly touching this green buy zone, and now bouncing. All right. So where do we go from here? So you can see we are right now in the middle. This is a no trade zone. So wait for it to come back to this green line to buy again, or this red line to sell again. So I think market is going to chop next couple of months between these zones. So it's a very good time to trade and take advantage of this volatility. So that's how we are doing right now. Nasdaq, similar story. You can see here again came from sell zone yesterday. Actually did not touch the buy zone, but just bounced because S&P 500 bounced before Nasdaq. So that's why you have to take into account multiple indices before making a right decision. So now it's bouncing again where we are right now in the middle. If it comes in this green buy zone, look to buy and sell in the red sell zone. Bitcoin, you can see here, similar story. Bitcoin was actually very strong, and where it is right now is in the middle. So let's look at a long-term chart and see how things are doing. Guys, please hit the like button while I'm going through this. I really appreciate that, and share this channel with friends and family. This is US 500 MES. You can see we were very oversold, and you can see we touched the green line on 4-hour chart, and now we are bouncing. So year-end target is still 65.12, but it's not going to be straight up. So any bounces, any pullbacks on this orange line, look to buy. So that's around 62.16 right now. And in terms of daily chart, let's look at SPX. You can see here, sorry, this could still be a lower high. And we had a rejection yesterday. We had a gap up open. You can see 1-hour chart, and then they kept selling off throughout the day. Here you can see we had a gap up open, and then they skipped selling it off throughout the day. Today also, actually right now we are having a gap up. So I think at some point in intraday they're going to do a reversal and then start filling this gap. Same thing with NDX, I'll show you later, but this is what we are looking for. Looking for a low or an equal low for a double bottom. So my ideal case would be next week we probably get a pullback into this zone and maybe fill this gap. And maybe it's not going to be as deep as this previous low, but a pullback to fill this gap and keep going higher. All right. And this gap, if we go to 1-hour chart, you can see this gap up. This is still not filled. So no matter where we are, no matter how much they're gonna trick everybody, eventually this gap should fill. This 1-hour gap, 100% it should fill. Okay, so be very careful. In terms of NDX, similar story. If I go to 1-hour chart, you can see we open on a gap up. They 100% gonna reverse it and fill this gap. You can see we're already now going lower, so they want to fill this gap. And then this is a bigger gap I'm looking for. So daily chart, similar story. Looking for a pullback next week maybe, and then filling this gap and then continue high. All right, so this is what I'm looking for on Nasdaq as well. In terms of Bitcoin, already getting a pullback, but let's look at Bitcoin gaps. There's no gap here. 7 counts buy signal, 8 counts buy signal a couple of days ago. A pullback to maybe retest this previous lows before we go higher is possible. 1-hour chart, we still have this top gap, slight gap here. So eventually that's going to be filled. So that's our target at the top side. So we'll see when they try to fill that. In terms of Ethereum, very strong, just a new high, change in trend. So any dip, look to buy. By the dip scenario, a bigger pullback will be filling gap around 34.28. We'll see which way they play out. Tesla, all right, so Tesla, this gap, they look like they want to go fill this gap around 332. We'll see if they're going to do that. I'm looking for a pullback actually to buy again, so we'll see. I'll be patient. Maybe next week we'll get that, or this week we'll see. In terms of other stock, Apple was very strong. Yesterday had a massive gap up again, but that multiple gaps. If I go to 1-hour chart, hide this to regular trading hours, you can see a gap here, a gap here. So multiple gaps, it's going higher. So this gap will fill eventually. So, and also it's getting rejected on this blue line. So it's not going to be easy to break out. You can see we got rejected here, and since then we've been down. So a pullback to fill this gap will be possible, and I won't be surprised if that happened. Netflix also, you can see a gap here. So most of these stocks have multiple gaps. They went up with a lot of gaps to fill to the downside. Google is already making a new high. Microsoft also almost filled this earnings gap. CrowdStrike getting a 7 counts buy signal here. So we'll see. It's very, very interesting if it's going to push or it's going to go lower. ServiceNow also had a massive pullback. NVIDIA, again, no gaps on the downside, but a pullback will be very good and healthy because it's just going straight up with multiple divergences on PP and RSI. avgo, similar story. All the chip stocks have similar story as we are talking. In terms of Toronto Stock Exchange, again, this gap is not filled yet. Bond market, um, getting a pullback 7 count sell signal a couple of days ago. Let's see how deep this pullback will be. In terms of commodities, crude oil is in a nice area of support. You can see previous, this is inverse head and shoulder breakout. Now testing that as a support, previous resistance. Natural gas, you can see most likely it's going to come back to 2.78 at some point. Gold is looking nice as well in front of some resistance here. Dollar index, DXY. Again, if it pumps, that's going to help gold go lower, but it's in front of multiple moving averages as well. AMD almost filled this, actually did fill this earnings gap yesterday, but again left multiple gaps down. I feel like there is a pullback due, guys, on all these stocks. Okay, Shopify after a massive 21% pump, slightly cooling down. SMCI also probably going to come back to this 42.98, fill some of these gaps. So things are looking pretty strong. Palantir just keeps going higher and higher and higher. Very, very overbought. So this is not where you want to be buying this. MicroStrategy, again, a nice move yesterday. Maybe it's going to come back. Lilly after bad earnings, just consolidating. UNH also just consolidating. CNI looks pretty interesting, made a new low. I'm going to keep an eye on this. This could be a good buy. Very, very oversold. You can see. So looking for a bounce at some point. So this is very interesting. I'm going to keep an eye on that. The stocks you got to find and choose when indexes are at all-time high. See what you can buy. Okay, guys, that's it for today. And VIX looks like it's crushing back again, going lower. That's good for indices. And you can see S&P 500 now again trying to go, and let's see if it fill this carefully or not. We'll keep an eye on. So still not filled. So I think at some point we'll get a reversal. So we'll keep an eye on that. Okay, guys, that's it for today. Hit the like button on your way out. I'll talk to you later. Bye.